Shane Warne, for example. One, or no, I know he doesn't go for that one, I'll have to get that. If they're too close to each other, or not the right depth, then you're in the problem. So Mark will probably would have said when Shane Warne took over, you go straight first, I'm comfortable second, I like it here.
Just testing.
Testing.
You want to see some of the things I'm writing about you.
Oh God.
I hope I don't have to say them for your sake. Yeah.
Ooh, pardon me. Oh, I hope I wasn't yawning on your on your camera. You're getting the hair, are you, Jan?
Getting the hair.
Oh,
very
God.
beautiful.
The hair.
Beautiful. Turn sideways,
Would
Judy,
you like
so
me
we
to
can see it.
pose
Yes.
the hair? The hair.
How do I zoom in?
And the other way.
Up in the top left-hand corner there, Australia 4:39. For those of you in South Africa, just wait leading up to the close of play. Oops has been very quick.
Do you know what it was? No, but she'll be back. That thing got a time on it because I felt as
Mine looks like a cocktail.
Good on you.
Yay! Oh, yay!
You'll be alright. Wait till Margot comes back to the show.
You should have got really drunk and you would scream.
You can always pretend, kind of friend the Jan, you can always pretend.
Yeah, they're right, Jen.
However, I would like to call everyone to attention and say good evening, everyone.
Good afternoon, Robin.
Yes, thank you, Margaret. Your turn's next. I've just been told that I'm calling everybody to attention for this evening's process and working as MC, so nice surprise for me. However, it is a great evening and I'm so pleased that everyone is here. Some blasts from the past and some present people, and it's really so great to see relatives of both of our people that we're farewelling here this evening. Our very special Jan and our very special Liz, who we will all miss so much at Hastings. They've been a part of it for quite some time now, and they're going to be missed by everyone, staff, students, whatever. However, we're going to start with Jan. We're picking on her first.
How appropriate. You can read, remember?
To begin with, I'm going to call on Margot Nelson,
Hang on.
a very long-term friend of Jan's, to have a few words to say about her very special Jan. She's still writing the speech. Come on, Margot, you've got your lippy on. That was a condition.
Is it me first?
You're first.
I was just going to take it to the toilet and I thought that wasn't very appropriate.
No.
And is Jan after
Over to
me?
Margot. Jan's after you, then I come next.
Thank you, Robin. Gosh, it's nice to be here. And when I got here this afternoon, I thought somebody's bound to have a speech written for Jan, but just in case. So I spent my afternoon at Jan's word processor that wasn't working. But I've got a speech, Jan, and she's terrified. She's absolutely terrified. Can I assure you I'm not going to embarrass you, darling? And you know, the title of this speech just came so naturally, and it was when you've known someone as long as I've known Jan. And actually that's 28 years. And I'm going to be really confidential now because that's actually half our lifetimes. So when you've known someone that long, and you've shared a lot of experiences with that person, both as a colleague and as a friend, you wouldn't miss a chance like this on the eve of her retirement. No, I'm not going to embarrass you, darling. To reflect a while on her journey and the person we've come to know along the way. See, I keep surprising her. She's waiting for it. She's waiting for it. After 28 years in Port Macquarie, Jan's just about earned the right to be considered a local. Yes.
Oh.
I remember when Jan and I arrived here, they told us you're not a local for 10 years, and I believe it. It's a long time to stay in one place. But before Jan moved here in '73, she'd already lived and worked in metropolitan and country schools and travelled and worked overseas. She set off for Bathurst Teachers College as an 18-year-old, I think. It was a chance to live away from home. I said to her, why did you go to Bathurst? And she said it was a chance to live away from home. And I think that's something we're all desperate for after growing up in the 50s in Australia. Did anybody else grow up in the 50s in Australia? The repression. When she finished her training, Jan was appointed to Cambridge Park Public School. Oh, somebody else has been there. Oh, yeah? 3 years she did a time at Cambridge Park near Penrith. And this is something that I either didn't know or I'd forgotten, like I've forgotten more things than I've remembered. She spent 2 years in a two-teacher school at a place called Nangus. Now, hands up if you know where Nangus is. Come on, between...
Sue Moore does.
How How come, Sue Moore?
I'm down that way.
You were down that way.
Tumour.
Tumour? It's a long bloody way from Tumour, Jan, isn't it? She's lost half her brain cells as well. I said to Jan, you didn't live in Angus, did you? She said, oh no, I had a flat in Gundagai. Then, as so many wise young women did then, not all of us, only the wise ones, she set off to see the world. And she travelled on the cruise liner Himalaya to the UK. It's sad that it's not here anymore. We've outlived the Himalaya, Jan. Jan travelled and worked extensively in Europe, the UK, and Northern Africa. But I'm not going to talk about what she did there.
No.
Before heading back to Oz and a teacher surplus in 1972. And where does the girl get herself a job? In Port Macquarie in a teacher surplus. Imagine trying to get a job in Port Macquarie now in a time of teacher surplus. You can't get a job here anyway, can you? How did you lot get jobs here? That's what I want to know. In those years she was away, she packed a hell of a lot of living into them, into the pre-Port Macquarie years. And as much as I'd like to share with you some of the tales to let you in on some of the secrets, you know, you wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't, says Jill. And she'd probably kill me too. I arrived here a few months before Jan in 1973, and in the 11 years we worked together at Port Macquarie Primary School, I came to know her very well as a colleague and as a dear friend. In those days it was an infant school. We worked in an infant school. And you know what? Surviving a string of infants mistresses proved to be a great bonding experience. Oh, there's a few people here that shared in that bonding experience, aren't there? Oh, she's only one of them. I guess in respect for the dead, the very first infants mistress was a wonderful woman, Mary Murray. We loved you. Thank goodness Keith Eggleton came along. And he dragged them all kicking and screaming into a K-6 school. And by the way, when I meet Ian Latham on Monday morning, I'm going to say, it's time you took that sign off. What is it? Is that William? No, not William Street. What's the street that's got the sign that says Port Macquarie Primary School, 1954? Yeah. That's not true. That was the infants department that was built in 19... Well, we have to fix that, don't we? Okay, so memories of Jan at Port Macquarie Primary School include her long-suffering role as the pianist for everything.
She still is! She still is!
The very wonderful artistic skills that she brought to her teaching resources and ours. And they brought them to life, Jan, they brought them to life. Another memory is her great patience and her sense of humour, especially when we attempted team teaching 90 kindy kids in the double kindy classroom. We persevered, didn't we?
Class in each corner, wasn't it?
Another precious memory is the countless shared excursions and special days, which we enjoyed as much as, if not more than, the kids that we took on those excursions. But then we had the most wonderful group of parents who carried the drinks. They never told... Oh, I forgot about the snow cones. They made the best snow cones. Moselle and raspberry, Moselle and I forgot that one, wasn't that good?
Only at Port Primary.
Only at Port Primary. And I guess one of the most precious memories of Port Primary wasn't what happened during the day, but it was the most wonderful regular debriefing sessions we had at the bank on Friday afternoon. Now you need to know how these were organised. At lunchtime on Fridays, a darling little 5-year-old would do a message and run round the school to every classroom and say, "Miss Hunter said, are you going to the bank this afternoon?" It was the tavern branch. The tavern. Jan moved on to Hastings 7 years ago. I know it was a welcome change for her, and I know it was a workplace where she found wonderful friendship and wonderful support. Life's never easy, is it? There's always the ups and downs, and there's always the hard things. I was always amazed at the way she kept finding herself, whatever it takes to settle yet another group of kindergarten into the year. I said to her a couple of years ago, "Jan, for God's sake, don't do it again. Tell Robin Pavan you want a year 5 next year."
You told me that.
I truly don't know how she did it. I think I had kindergarten for 7 years at Port Primary, and the only reason I gave it up was that I couldn't cope with another year of the first 3 weeks in February with torrential rain and slimy yellow raincoats with those buttons that you can't do up. You know those buttons that aren't really buttons. I couldn't do it again. Actually, I think I know how she coped. I think I know how she did it. She has great patience. She has great kindness. She has great tolerance. And she has an enormous capacity to really like all those kids. And that's what made it possible. So much for Jan's journey. The end of the journey at Hastings. Jan the person is someone I've come to know and to love, as no doubt many of you have. I know her as a loyal friend. I know her as a traveller. I know her as a lover of cats and a mother to Toby and Chester. I know her as an artist. I know her as a musician. I know her as a historian too. And I know her as a wine taster of some note.
And as a friend.
More recently, after a very tentative beginning during the Olympic Games last year, she's taken to technology in a big way. And I do just want to tell you a little story about that. Because I live near Olympic Park, and early one morning during the Olympic Games, I got a phone call at about 6 o'clock in the morning. She said, "Hello, Margot, it's Jan here." I said, "Where the bloody hell are you?" She said, "I'm at the Olympic site and I'm talking to you on my new mobile phone that I only bought yesterday." She said, "I wondered if we might be able to catch up." I said, "Well, what are you going to see today?" She said, "The tennis." I said, "So am I." "Great! And you've got a mobile phone. Well, as soon as I get there, I'll ring you and we'll find out where you're sitting and blah, blah, blah." So, you know, when you go to the tennis, you've got to turn off your bloody mobile phone, haven't you, right? So I kept ringing her and leaving her all these lovely messages on her message bank, but she didn't know how to get them. Well, she only bought it yesterday. And also yesterday she bought the video camera, wasn't it? Right, so here she is at the Olympic Games with her new technology. So in the end, the people I was with decided that we just had to find her with the binoculars. And we did. And we had the best day. It was just such fun. And then we went and had dinner in the twilight, and I counted the glasses, the empty glasses on that table. Jan, you ought to be ashamed. Jan, we're glad you've reached the stage when there'll be all the time in the world for the things you love to do. Cruising in the Subaru, and including surfing the net in the style of a real 21st century retiree.
Yes.
All the very best.
Thanks, Margot.
How to do that?
No, you're not technical, Margaret. Well, how does one follow Margaret? That's why I put her on first. Before I ask Jan to come up, I'm just going to have a few brief words about Jan. I've known Jan for just as long as Margot has, but we haven't worked together for as long as that. And I thought this evening, well, maybe I might tell a few tales. But then I thought, oh, no, I'd better not, because when I retire, Jan might come back and tell tales about me. And I might not like the tales that Jan would tell about me. Except, Jan, remember back to Granite Street flat?
Downstairs.
Okay, Harry Hunter days and Leonie days. We'll go that far back. Only special people will remember those days. But those were my first days of knowing Jan, and I've known her ever since, and it was a really great time when she transferred from Port Macquarie and came over to Hastings, and has been a really valuable asset to us there. We're going to miss her terribly. It's so great to have her sister and niece here today, who I met yesterday at school, so thank you for coming. I know Jan really appreciates having family here tonight. It's meant so much to her. And having heard about you for many years and never met, welcome.
Thank you.
When Jan first came to me with her plans of taking up the option of the 4 for 5 years and then perhaps working into retirement, it seemed so far away, but we were so excited when she first started to do it, thinking, oh yes, save for that amount, and you'll have that year off and then add some leave onto it, and here it is. It just seems like yesterday that we were going over the plans for doing it, and she's already here. Margot's already mentioned her fabulous talents. The artwork. You never go to an in-service with it and sit near Jan when it's an art one, because you want to go and crawl in the corner when she starts drawing and sketching and putting things together. And yes, Margot, she's continued to be the expert on the piano for assemblies at Hastings, left the role at Port Primary and came straight into it very easily with us. Jan and I share something really dear to one another's hearts: cats. Anyone who loves cats, as far as I'm concerned, has to be a top person.
Absolutely.
And when Jan decides that she's going to give up those gorgeous cat t-shirts and send them to St Vinny's, I've got first claim on them, Jan. So don't put them in an old bag and send them off to St Vinny's, send them round to my household. She's got such a great collection. Life is just starting for you, Jan. The 21st century lady of technology. Yesterday was the last, however, the last infants concert. Can be said with such sadness. No more My Little Puppy, Name is Rags. No more Oh No Joe songs to be singing and playing, though you'll probably do them in your mind mentally for many, many years to come. They're so ingrained into us that I don't think you ever forget those things. They're quite indelible. And next year, Jan, when Easter comes and you're having withdrawal symptoms, I'm not making Easter baskets, Easter hat parades. Think of us. I know you won't. And when you get inspired for Christmas craft this time next year, remember where the school is and just come around. Your talents will always be appreciated. So Jan, best of luck from everyone. We'll miss you terribly. And it's a night of sadness, but it's a night of happiness. And that's what we're looking forward to, as the happy times. So over to you, Jan. Come on up. This is your life, Jan. We see it on TV and now it's real.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Ros and Chris for organising this wonderful evening for Liz and I. Thank you to everyone for coming from near and far. My sister Judy from Montana, my niece Kathy from Adelaide, Margot from Sydney, Megan from Queensland, and my buddies from Port Primary. Very excited. My old ones. especially. She's the oldest.
That's okay, I can handle it. I've had 8 years of retirement.
I'm looking forward to my retirement very much and hope to see you all from time to time. Thanks to Rob, John and Bernie for being great bosses, and to everyone I've worked with at Hastings these past 7 years for their support and friendship. I've seen a lot of others get to this stage, and now it is my turn. I look forward to sitting in the back row at the Infants Christmas concert. in 2002. And no thanks, I don't want an invitation to come up for reading, Bruce.
On behalf of everyone, Jan, a card with well-meant thoughts and your prezi.
Oh my God. Those of us who have seen it, it's gorgeous. Thank you, Jan. And when she looks at this, she'll be able to remember not just Port Macquarie, but everyone that she's known as she's lived here. Thank you, Jan, for everything.
Thank you.
I wonder what it could be.
Large television screen.
Well, not very often that you farewell two people. Just as the present gets over,